Everybody knows the issues of aviation. And the issues are it costs too much and there's not enough young people into aviation. And I asked myself, why don't I do something about it? So what I did is I started the Eagle's Nest Projects Wisconsin.
Welcome to the Future in Flight podcast, coming to you from a hangar somewhere near the flight line, where no matter how hard that fan is working, it's still overwhelmingly warm. And if it's warm in the hangar, it's absolutely red hot in the show today. We're starting out with a story of how one man's dream is helping solve a crucial problem in aviation and providing incredible opportunities for students at the same time. Then, we're diving into Hollywood history meets Lego creativity, where three young filmmakers brought Steven Spielberg's forgotten fighter pilot Wild Bill Kelso back to life. And finally, we're unlocking the mathematics behind autopilot systems. Spoiler alert, it's way cooler than cruise control in your car and involves some serious math that's keeping millions of passengers safe every day. So buckle up, make sure all doors and windows are latched, we're clear for takeoff. I want to tell you a story that started in the most unlikely place, a basement in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Not that one. Picture this. There's a man halfway through building an airplane kit in his basement when his daughter is about to start high school. Now, most parents might worry about homework or prom dates, but Jim Senft, well, he saw an opportunity to change aviation forever. That sound you hear is the sound of teenagers literally building their dreams. Because what started as one man's basement project has become something extraordinary. The Eagle's Nest Project Wisconsin, where high schoolers don't just learn about aviation, they build real aircraft and fly them. Jim had a simple but powerful realization about aviation's biggest problems.
My name is Jim Senft. I am the director and founder of Eagle's Nest Projects Wisconsin. And what we do is we build a Vans RV-12 with high school kids. What a great program. So we also will fly our students. And some of our successes are we have 19 pilots, and they were still all in high school.
And the results? 19 pilots, still in high school. Let that sink in for a minute. But getting there wasn't easy. When Jim first approached the local school district with his crazy idea, he hit a wall.
So I went to the school and pitched it. Oh boy, they didn't want anything to do with me. They didn't return phone calls. They were like, who's this crazy guy? They thought I was going to ask for money.
Imagine being so passionate about giving kids opportunities that you're willing to be seen as that crazy guy. But Jim's persistence paid off in ways few could have predicted. Fast forward 11 years, and Jim's basement dream is transformed into something that's changing lives. The program doesn't just teach kids to build airplanes, it builds futures. And the proof is in the stories that sound almost too incredible to be true.
So I had a senior and a junior in high school, and they were going through flight instruction together. They got their license the same day. The senior goes off and gets into the Air Force Academy. So then he decides he's going to go out for the Air Force Academy flight team. Freshmen do not get on the Air Force Academy flight team. That is the best of the best, right? He gets on as a freshman. That hasn't happened in decades at the academy. Next year, the other kid gets into the Air Force Academy and does the exact same thing. Gets on to the flight team. I got a picture of them in their flight suit together, standing next to the Air Force plane.
That's not just coincidence. That's the power of hands-on learning and believing in young people. But what does this actually feel like for the students themselves? Ben has been with the program for 4 years, and he's watched an airplane go from boxes of parts to a flying machine. What he discovered along the way is something crucial, not just about aviation, but about life, that nothing happens by yourself. Everything requires teamwork, camaraderie, and persistence.
I mean, it's pretty gratifying because you can look and walk around that plane and tell people, hey, this was me. I did that with this person, or, we really struggled with that part there and wouldn't really want to do that again. I think camaraderie is probably the biggest because nothing happens by yourself. In this program, everything requires assistance. There are very, very few things that can be done by yourself.
Then there's Zeke, a newer member who's already caught the vision. He's working on wing assembly right now, but he dreams of becoming a commercial pilot and flying 737s. And thanks to the program's volunteer instructors, he's on track to start his own pilot training very soon.
My goal is to be a commercial pilot. I want to fly 737s mainly. I don't want to go too big, too small. The amazing thing about this program is you can get your pilot's license through it.
From building wings to flying passenger jets, that's not just a dream anymore. That's a pathway. And the Eagle's Nest project isn't just creating pilots. It's creating engineers, mechanics, and innovators. One graduate now works for the FAA reviewing aircraft designs from companies like Boeing. Imagine that. A kid who started building planes in high school is now helping certify the aircraft that millions of people fly on.
Honestly, one of the biggest things has got to be exposure. This club has given me chances that I would have never known about, have understood any of this aviation stuff if it wasn't for being told or shown, because that's a genesis of this program, is to get students and kids into aviation and help them navigate, because this is a difficult space to navigate if you're without guidance.
And the beautiful part? This isn't about having deep pockets or special connections. It's about showing up, getting involved, and believing in what young people can do.
Everybody can help, Sean. It's not, you don't need deep pockets. Just get involved.
What started in Jim Senft's basement has become proof that the biggest barriers in aviation aren't really barriers at all. They're just challenges waiting for someone crazy enough to solve them. When people say kids these days aren't interested in anything but their phones and video games, programs like Eagle's Nest Project Wisconsin prove them wrong every single day.
It's really cool seeing everyone work as a team, like for the same objective. Everyone enjoys it. No one's dragging. Everyone's excited. They want to be involved and do stuff with the plane.
The future of aviation isn't just bright. It's being built rivet by teenagers who refuse to accept that the sky is the limit. Check out eaglesnestprojectwisconsin.com to learn more about their mission and how you can get involved. Up next, we've got a wild segment that dives into history, movies, and Legos. Hey, podcast fans, are you looking for another aviation-themed podcast for your playlist? Check out the newest season of the Wonder Woman of Aviation, hosted by the head Wonder Woman of Aviation herself, Natalia McAlee. A passionate advocate for women in aviation, Natalia sits down with some of the industry's biggest names for heartfelt, in-depth conversations. Check out the Wonder Woman of Aviation, available now on all on-demand audio platforms. Now, we're diving into a story that bridges Hollywood history, Lego creativity, and real warbirds. It's about three young creators who brought one of cinema's most memorable fighter pilots back to life, not through CGI or special effects, but through custom Lego bricks and an actual P-40 Warhawk. Picture this. You're 24 years old, you love aviation history, and you stumble across Steven Spielberg's 1979 comedy, 1941, a film that most younger people have never heard of. But there's something about Wild Bill Kelso, John Belushi's unhinged fighter pilot character, that sparks an idea. What if you could recreate him and his iconic P-40 Warhawk, but with Legos? That's exactly what happened to filmmaker Matt Terry, and it led to an incredible collaboration that would involve a warbird with an actual air-to-air kill, a striking John Belushi impersonator, and one of the most accurate Lego aircraft builds you've ever seen. Let me introduce you to our creators. First, there's Matt Terry, an aviation filmmaker and Lego collector who discovered 1941 through his dad.
So I discovered the movie, I think it was on TV when my dad was watching it, and it just so happened to be one of the P-40 scenes, and this was maybe a couple of years ago. I didn't really think much of it at the time.
The film 1941 might be Spielberg's forgotten comedy, but it's packed with incredible aviation sequences. Set during the paranoid days following Pearl Harbor, it follows various characters, including Wild Bill Kelso, whose manic energy in P-40 Warhawk creates some of the film's most memorable moments. Then there's Aidan Donnarumma, a 24-year-old aviation historian who would provide access to something extraordinary, a real P-40 at the American Air Power Museum on Long Island.
The American Air Power Museum, it's based out of Republic Airport on Long Island. It's the original airfield, actually, where the Republic Company built the P-47 Thunderbolt.
And finally, Chris Sorrentino, a comedian and John Belushi impersonator from Staten Island, who would become Wild Bill Kelso himself.
Yeah, I'm told. Occasionally. Usually, at the toga parties, they let me know. I'm known as Baby Belushi.
What makes the story remarkable isn't just the individual talents, but how they came together. Matt had the vision and the custom plain bricks Lego P-40 set. Aiden had access to a real P-40M, not just any P-40, but one with an incredible war record.
During the war, it actually is credited with shooting down a Japanese balloon bomb. So technically, this aircraft has seen combat and does have a balloon kill. The Imperial Japanese Army, they sent up high-altitude balloons to try to start forest fires on the west coast of North America. And it turns out this P-40, when it was in Canadian service, found one of these balloons and shot it down.
Bringing Chris into the project, though, is what really transformed it from a simple product review into something magical.
I do a lot of John Belushi character, like cosplays and, different skits. I'm like, yeah, dude, let's go for it. And, I think we pulled it off.
The attention to detail was obsessive. They cross-referenced movie frames, set photos, and actual Army Air Corps aircraft from the era. The custom Lego stickers were designed by Plain Bricks to match Kelso's exact aircraft markings from the film. Of course, working with a vintage aircraft presented challenges. There were weather delays, audio problems in post-production, and strict rules about not touching the airplane.
None of us were allowed to step foot in the airplane. The landing gear control lever, I think it's right next to the throttle where you step in.
One wrong move could literally drop the aircraft onto its belly, something that's happened more than once in aviation history. But when everything came together, the results were electric. Chris channeled Belushi's manic energy while Matt played the perfect straight man, creating a dynamic that felt both authentic to the original film and entirely fresh.
I think the dynamic of Chris playing the funny man, me playing the straight man, that's just kind of what worked.
The highlight? A scene where Chris, as Wild Bill Kelso, chugs an entire bottle of Coke in one take. A moment that perfectly captured Belushi's fearless commitment to physical comedy.
That was one take. I told him, I was like, I'll chug it. I'm that guy.
What struck me most about talking with these three creators is how their different passions, Matt's filmmaking knowledge, Aiden's historical expertise, and Chris's comedic energy created something none of them could have achieved alone. They're already planning future collaborations, potentially expanding into Blues Brothers territory. And that makes sense, since both 1941 and the Blues Brothers capture a uniquely American kind of chaos, where passion projects and obsessive attention to detail create something unexpectedly beautiful. Small wonder, then, that John Belushi was involved in both of them. In the modern world of digital effects and virtual everything, there's something refreshing about three young creators who choose to work with physical Lego bricks, real aircraft, and practical comedy. They didn't just make a video, they created a bridge between generations, introducing younger audiences to a forgotten Spielberg film while honoring the craftsmanship of both vintage aircraft and custom Lego artistry. You can find their Wild Bill Kelso video online. We'll put links in the comments. And trust me, whether you're into Lego, aviation, or just great comedy, it's well worth your time. Sometimes the best projects happen when passionate people find each other and decide to build something impossible. Before we go, Wild Bill Kelso has one acknowledgement, someone he'd like to thank.
The Wright brothers for giving us this gift of flight.
Coming up next, we take a look at the mathematics of autopilot in our STEM in Flight segment. Now, we're taking a closer look at something that's both fascinating and incredibly important in modern aviation, autopilot systems and the mathematics of navigation. I know what some of you might be thinking. Wait, doesn't autopilot just mean the plane flies itself? Well, kind of, but not exactly. Autopilot isn't some magic switch that inflates a doll which lets the pilots kick back with a cup of coffee while the plane does all the work.
All right, I'm going to unlock the automatic pilot.
It's a complex system powered by mathematics, physics, and engineering. And trust me, it's even cooler than it sounds. So let's start with the basics. What is autopilot? Autopilot is a system that assists pilots by controlling certain aspects of the plane's flight, like maintaining altitude, speed, and direction. It's been around since not long after the invention of the airplane. But today's autopilot systems are way more advanced, thanks to cutting-edge technology and, you guessed it, some serious math. One of the key tools in modern navigation is the Inertial Navigation System, or INS. Think of it as the brain behind the autopilot. The INS uses sensors like gyroscopes and accelerometers to calculate the plane's position, speed, and orientation without needing GPS. It's like having a super smart math tutor on board, constantly solving equations to figure out where you are and where you're headed. But here's the fun part. How does the autopilot actually do this? Let's break it down with a simple example. Imagine you're on a road trip and you need to drive 300 miles to your destination. You set your cruise control to 60 miles per hour, but the car still doesn't steer itself. You're in charge of turning the wheel, avoiding potholes, and keeping the car in your lane. Now, think of autopilot as the aviation version of cruise control, but way smarter. It doesn't just maintain speed. It uses feedback loops to make constant adjustments. Feedback loops work like this. Sensors on the airplane measure things like airspeed, altitude, and heading, and they send that data to the autopilot system. The system compares the plane's actual performance to what it should be doing. If there's a difference, say the plane drifts off course because of wind, the autopilot uses math to calculate how to fix it and sends instructions to the flight controls. The math behind this is called Proportional Integral Derivative Control, or PID for short. It's a fancy name, but the concept is simple. The system looks at where you are, where you need to go, and how fast you're getting there, then adjust accordingly. Think of it as a constant back-and-forth conversation between the sensors and the controls, with math as the translator. Of course, autopilot doesn't work alone. It's part of a team that includes GPS, air traffic control, and most importantly, the pilots themselves. Pilots monitor the autopilot and can take over at any time. Why? Because no system is perfect. Autopilots are amazing tools, but they're only as good as the data they're given. Bad weather, turbulence, or sensor errors can throw a wrench in the system, so pilots always need to stay sharp. But that's today. The future is an entirely different picture. Did you know that engineers are working on systems that could one day enable fully autonomous flights? These systems would use artificial intelligence and machine learning to make even smarter decisions in real time. Imagine a plane that could adapt to unexpected challenges, like a sudden storm or an engine failure, without human input. It's not science fiction, it's science in action. Alright, so what can we take away from all this? Autopilot systems aren't about replacing pilots. They're about making aviation safer and more efficient. And at the heart of it all is math. Every time an autopilot adjusts a plane's heading or altitude, it's solving equations faster than you can say Pythagorean theorem. If you love solving problems, working with technology, or dreaming up new ways to make the skies safer, maybe a career in aerospace or electrical engineering is in your future. Who knows? The next big breakthrough in autopilot technology could come from you. And that's a wrap on today's episode of the Future in Flight podcast. From Jim Senft's basement dream that's now launching teenagers into the Air Force Academy flight team and beyond, to three creators bridging generations with Lego bricks and warbirds, to the incredible mathematics keeping our skies safe, today's stories prove that aviation's future is being built by people who refuse to accept limitations. Whether it's high schoolers riveting real aircraft together, young filmmakers honoring aviation history through creative storytelling, or engineers solving complex equations to make flight safer, one thing is clear. The future of aviation isn't just bright, it's being actively constructed by dreamers, builders, and innovators who understand that the impossible is just another engineering challenge waiting to be solved. Before you taxi back to your day, I need a favor. If today's episode inspired you, fired you up, or taught you something new, please hit that subscribe button wherever you're listening. Your subscription helps us reach more aviation enthusiasts, future pilots, and anyone who believes that the sky is just a starting point, not the destination. And here's the thing, reviews actually matter. They help other people discover these incredible stories. So if you've got 30 seconds, leave us a review and let us know which story resonated with you the most. Thank you for joining me in the hangar today. Thank you for believing that aviation's best days aren't behind us. They're being built right now. One rivet, one equation, one crazy basement idea at a time. Until next time, keep your eyes on the horizon, and remember, the future of flight is in good hands. We'll see you out there and up there.